I'm Chelsea Powery here for a Castanet Q&A with the candidate for the South Okanagan-West Kootenay riding, Helena Konanz, running with the Conservative Party. Helena, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Well, it's great to have you here, but let's start with the basic question. Briefly, why should a voter choose you to represent this riding?
Well, Chelsea, we've known each other for a while now, and you know how much I've been working locally for our communities, whether I was on the Penticton City Council or Regional District. These communities are very important to me. In 2019, I got to know the entire riding through the Kootenays, Arrow Lakes, and I want to work as hard as I worked on local government here. I want to work for the entire riding. I know that this riding, South Okanagan-West Kootenay, has been neglected for the last 6 years, and we deserve a voice.
And so now we're gonna talk about some general issues here. So what's the biggest issue locally that you think has not been correctly addressed by the federal government?
Well, there are so many issues, as you know, that you cover on a day-to-day basis. But one of the biggest issues, of course, is crime. We have had a huge problem with crime and drug overdose in this community. We are one of the top, we have one of the highest crime rates in BC, and there's no reason for that. And it's something that has been neglected. People should not be afraid to leave their homes. And more, that's what's happening. So we need to address, and the conservatives will address, and I will address locally here, our issues with crime rate and one of the top overdose rates in BC also.
And so switching gears a little bit here, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues, what, in your opinion, needs to happen in order to get it under control, in order to get us moving from a federal level?
Well, one of the things that the other parties have been doing is creating a huge fissure in our communities with everybody throughout Canada and in our riding. You can see people are afraid. I really believe, and conservatives believe, that people are actually trying their best and that we need to work together as opposed to tearing people apart. One of the things that's been so detrimental is actually calling an election during this time. People are shocked, and we've knocked on over our group has the Conservatives in the South Okanagan-West Kootenay have knocked on over 50,000 doors, and we know that people are very concerned. First of all, about having an election at all, and then about some of the measures that have come forward by the provincial government, by the NDP, that are important, but also have the messaging has been poor.
Is the vaccine passport part of that? What are your opinions on vaccine passports in general?
Well, vaccine passports, I think it's, and I know it's very important. I've been talking to so many people about this, and vaccine passports are something that have been brought forward on a provincial level. And the Conservative policy is that we should be following provincial mandates. But what's missing here is the entire toolbox that we need to be using, including rapid testing. Rapid testing is being used all over the world. There are vending machines all over the world with rapid tests in them, so that people can use those to on a day-to-day if they need to. They're not feeling well, or businesses can use them, and that's something that is not, for some reason, is not being used here. Also, of course, we have mask mandate, and we have distancing, and there's just so many other options we can use. But we do believe that you should follow provincial mandates, but messaging really needs to be brought forward better, clearer, and to bring people together more, so we can work on this as a community and not tear us apart.
Well, switching gears here again to the environment. This summer, obviously, the interior has been gravely, unprecedentedly impacted by wildfires in some areas, and we had an unprecedented heat wave. So what should be better done in regards to protecting residents from environmental disasters like wildfires, and climate change in general. What are your thoughts on what the federal government should be doing?
I'm hearing a lot about climate change at the doors, and it's very important to people, but so is the economy. So the Conservatives are the only party that's balancing both. We need to make sure that our future is that we have a future here on this earth, and so we need to work towards cleaning the environment. And the Conservatives have a great platform that uses more of a carrot than a stick approach than the other parties use. But we also have to make sure this isn't on the back of Canadian workers who, as you know, throughout this riding, there are many without a job that have lost their jobs because of the pandemic, and there are many who are just for some reason not working. We have a lack of staff in so many businesses in the South Okanagan-West Kootenay, and we need to inspire and incentivize people to get back to work.
So another major issue in this riding, as you're aware, is housing, a lack of rental stock, and a difficulty for people being able to afford to get into home ownership or land ownership. What do you think the federal government should be doing to help alleviate those issues in this riding?
Well, I'm proud that I worked on that issue for over 7 years, being on Penticton City Council and on the regional district. And I am the only candidate, including our former MP, NDP MP, who actually has brought housing to this community. Through policy making, we brought hundreds of rental units forward while I was on council. And on the conservative platform, you'll see that we want to work with municipalities to help bring forward all levels of housing, to help people get mortgages easier by setting up a 7 to 10 year mortgage, and to also build 1 million homes in the next 3 years. Help construction workers build 1 million homes, and municipalities build 1 million homes of all levels, so that we can stop the pressures that are, in particular, you'll see in the Okanagan, the pressure for first stage housing, you'll see with our homeless, but also with every level of housing. As you said, young people getting into housing, they need to have the opportunity to do that, and Conservatives will help with that.
So another thing in this riding, we obviously have a lot of Indigenous communities in this riding. How do you plan to work with those Indigenous communities in the area and make sure that their needs and concerns are heard at a federal level?
Well, again, something that's been neglected, but we need to work in partnership with them. And I know that while I was on City Council and the Regional District, I worked with the Penticton Indian Band quite a bit on different issues and developments that they were working on. And I feel proud that I was able to work hand in hand with them and help them with their development, and also to help developments, and also to just listen to what their concerns are. I think that's what's been neglected, is just the listening and then implementation of the, for example, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report.
And then this has obviously been just 2 years since the last time we were doing this. And it was a very close vote last time around, very close loss for you, less than 1,000 votes. And there was some analysis at the time that looked at votes that went to the PPC last time around, which was more than what you lost by, and some thoughts that perhaps that vote of more right-leaning voters had been split between the Conservatives and the PPC in this riding. Now we're back again with the same two candidates for both parties. And I'm just wondering how you feel about whether your platforms have shifted closer or farther apart, and can you expand on where you think that the PPC and the Conservative parties stand in this riding this time around?
Well, as you know, Chelsea, there is so much has happened in the last 2 years. It's a different world, and in 2019, the PPC, I believe, got 1,600 votes. I'm not even sure what percentage that was. 2%, maybe. I'm sorry.
No, it was low, but it was more than the margin of your loss. So it was just sort of interesting at the time.
I noticed that for sure.
Yeah.
We also lost to the NDP, and the NDP got more votes than us. And of course, the Green Party got some votes, and the Liberals got some. So that's how we look at it. And that's how I look at it. Is in general, I take everybody seriously as in competition. As many of you know, I was a professional tennis player and coach, and I know how to compete. And I know that every single candidate that steps forward is a contender or someone that we have to look at as somebody who may get votes. And so, but my job is to make sure that people know that I am the most experienced person out there. I'm the most experienced candidate that's running. I'm the only candidate that's actually made things happen in government. The current member of parliament, or the NDP, Richard Cannings, he has been in for 6 years. He's never passed a bill through parliament. He has some really good ideas sometimes, but he cannot implement them because he's a fourth party. And just to remind people, in the last time we had conservative member of parliament here, that member of parliament was able to help bring different levels of government together. And that's when the new Penticton Pool was built. That's when the South of Okanagan Event Center was built, with different governments working together and funding. That's when we twinned the highways between Oliver and Soyuz. That's when we actually widened the highway between Summerland and Kelowna. Those are just some of the things that had happened before 2015. And the Richard Cannings, who has been in for 6 years, and we've given him 6 years to try to get something here. He can't even tell you the things he's been able to bring to this riding because he hasn't been able to. Again, he has some ideas that sound really good, but he cannot implement them as a fourth place party.
Yes. And so to get back to the question, though, I mean, do you think that the PPC and the Conservative Party, at least, do you think that their platforms are further apart or closer together than they were 2 years ago?
I think they're really different than we are. Oh my gosh, they have a lot of different ideas that are completely different from us. And actually the other parties do too. So yes, we are quite different this year. And I thought we were different back then, to tell you the truth. So yeah, I'm taking everybody as every party has new ideas coming forward because we are in a new world.
Right. Well, that's covered the gamut here. Is there anything else, though, that you would like voters to know about you?
I want voters to know that I will work hard for them and their voice will be heard in Ottawa. It's something that hasn't been heard for the last 6 years. And I'm ready to, well, again, work hard because this is a really big riding and it takes a lot of energy and passion to be able to service all the people in it. And I have that work ethic and that passion to be able to do that. And that's something that's been missing for the last 6 years.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with me here today, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Have a great day.
You too.